Right now, somewhere inside you, something is happening that no camera can fully capture and no app can fully explain. A heart is forming from nothing. A brain is wiring itself in real time. And most of what's actually happening in there, most parents never hear about it in this kind of detail. This isn't about anything you're doing wrong. This is about what your baby is quietly becoming, week by week, long before you ever meet them.
By month 4, something happens that most people don't expect this early. By month 6, your baby can already recognize the one voice they'll spend the rest of their life knowing better than any other. And by month 9, all of it, the movement, the listening, the tasting, comes together in a way that changes what that first hello on delivery day actually means. Welcome back. If you're a parent who's pregnant right now, who just found out, or who simply wants to understand what those 9 months actually built, this one's for you. Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll never look at a due date the same way again.
1. Month 1. Right now, your baby is smaller than a grain of rice, and yet the most important architecture of their entire life is already under construction. In these first few weeks, a structure called the neural tube forms, the very beginning of the brain and spinal cord. That's not a metaphor. That's the actual scaffolding of thought, memory, and personality, starting before you've even missed a period. Here's what's easy to miss about month 1. The body is building in a strict order, top down and inside out. The nervous system goes first, because everything else, the heart, the limbs, the organs, will eventually need instructions from it. Your baby's very first project isn't a face or a heartbeat. It's a command center.
2. Month 2. The heart, which started as a simple folding tube, is now beating on its own, somewhere around 150 to 170 beats a minute, nearly twice as fast as yours. Tiny limb buds are becoming arms and legs. Fingers are starting to separate from each other. This is the month your baby stops looking like a cluster of cells and starts looking unmistakably like the beginning of a person. Here's what this looks like if you could actually see it. A heartbeat faster than a hummingbird's wing beat, powering a body the size of a raspberry, small enough to hide in your palm, fast enough to already be working harder relative to its size than it ever will again.
3. Month 3. The reflexes begin. Your baby can open and close tiny fists, and the vocal cords are forming, even though there's no air yet to make a sound. Here's what's actually happening underneath that. The nervous system is starting to practice. Muscles are firing, not because they need to move anything yet, but because movement itself is a skill the brain has to rehearse early, on its own schedule, long before it's needed for anything real. That's not wasted motion. That's your baby's brain teaching your baby's body how to listen to it, a conversation that will run, quietly, for the rest of their life. If any of this is landing for you right now, hit subscribe. We go through every stage like this, in full. No fluff, no filler.
4. Month 4. This is the month a lot of parents feel the first flutter, that soft, unmistakable proof that someone else is actually in there. Research from developmental psychologist Janet DiPietro at Johns Hopkins has tracked fetal movement patterns at this stage and found something remarkable. How active a baby is in the womb is already connected to differences in temperament and behavior after birth. That flutter isn't random. It's the earliest signature of who they're going to be. Babies who move more actively in the womb during these middle months tend to show more active, engaged temperaments as infants. Babies with calmer movement patterns often show that same steadiness early on outside the womb too. That's not you being told what kind of baby you're going to have. That's your baby quietly telling you first. Tell me in the comments what month you first felt movement. Every parent remembers that moment differently, and I genuinely want to hear yours. 5. Month 5. Hearing switches on. Around this point, your baby can start to detect sound. Muffled, low, filtered through fluid and tissue, but real.
Researcher Peter Hepper at Queen's University Belfast has studied fetal responses to sound and music at this stage and found that babies can actually respond to, and later recognize, melodies they were exposed to regularly in the womb. Here's the translation. That lullaby you hum without thinking twice about it, it's not disappearing into silence. It's landing somewhere, and it's staying there. This doesn't mean you need to be curating a playlist or performing concerts at your belly every night. One study, one melody isn't building a genius. It's simply proof that your baby's world is no longer silent, and hasn't been for a while. 6. Month 6. This is the one that gets people. Your baby's hearing is developed enough now that they're not just detecting sound in general, they're starting to tune specifically to you. The classic research here goes back to psychologist Anthony DeCasper, whose newborn studies showed that babies recognize and prefer their mother's voice almost immediately after birth, a preference built during these final months in the womb, well before delivery day. That means the voice you use to talk to the dishes, to the dog, to yourself in the car. Your baby has been treating that voice as a kind of home base long before you ever said hello. This isn't about performing for them. You don't need a script, a class, or a special voice. The regular sound of you talking through an ordinary day is already doing something enormous, and it's already working, whether you're aware of it or not.
7. Month 7. Taste enters the picture. Your baby is swallowing amniotic fluid regularly now, and that fluid carries traces of flavor from what you eat. Researcher Julie Manella at the Monell Chemical Senses Center has shown that flavors from a mother's diet, garlic, vanilla, anise, spices, actually reach the amniotic fluid, and that babies respond differently to those flavors after birth based on that early exposure. Your baby's very first food memories are forming before their very first meal. Here's what this looks like in practice. You don't need a special pregnancy diet for this to count. Eating the meals you actually eat, the ones tied to your culture, your family, your ordinary Tuesday night, that's already writing the first page of your baby's relationship with food.
If this video is putting language to something you felt but never had the words for, that's exactly why we make these. So drop a comment and let us know which month surprised you most. It genuinely helps other parents find this. 8. Month 8. The brain is now producing an extraordinary number of new neural connections every single day, wiring up the systems that will handle breathing, temperature regulation, and eventually language and emotion regulation. Lungs are practicing breathing motions with no air moving through them yet. Fat is building steadily under the skin, not for looks, but for temperature control, the moment your baby meets open air for the first time. Everything happening this month is preparation. Quiet, invisible, relentless preparation, running in the background while you're just trying to find a comfortable way to sleep.
9. Month 9. And then comes the one no single citation can really capture, because it isn't one finding, it's everything converging. All that wiring, all that listening, all that tasting and moving and practicing, none of it was separate from the birth itself. It's the reason your baby arrives already knowing your voice, already primed by your flavors, already shaped in small ways by your rhythm and your movement. The moment they're placed on your chest isn't the beginning of the relationship. It's the continuation of one that's been building from 9 months, mostly in the dark, without either of you fully realizing it. None of this required you to have done anything special. You didn't need the app that tracks fruit sizes, or the belly headphones, or the prenatal classes stacked with worksheets and flashcards. You just needed to exist near your baby, eating, talking, living an ordinary life, and their entire nervous system was quietly listening, tasting, and adapting the whole time.
If you're watching this while pregnant right now, hear this clearly. Whatever this pregnancy has looked like, messy, anxious, exhausted, uncertain, nothing like the calm, glowing version you pictured,
Your baby has still been building, still been listening, still been becoming who they are, through all of it. Development doesn't pause for a hard week. And if you're a parent who didn't get any of this, who adopted, who had a baby arrive some other way, who never felt a single flutter, none of what makes your bond real came from a 9-month checklist either. It came from being there. It still is. So here's what to actually do with everything you just heard. Tonight, when you're doing something completely ordinary, folding laundry, cooking, driving somewhere with the radio low, say something out loud the way you always do. Not because it's a special moment, because
It isn't one. Because it's exactly the ordinary moments that have been reaching your baby all along, month after month, long before you ever knew it was working. That flutter you felt back in month 4, it was never just movement. It was the first hello. You are not waiting to become a parent. You already are one, and your baby already knows your voice.